Welcome back to Talk Too Late. I'm with my two amazing guests, Mik and Prosil, and this is the final segment of our special episodes about our predictions for the new generation of consoles and the new generation of gaming and the new life cycle that it's just at the door these days, starting off. So my questions for our two guests is related to the big acquisitions that would shake the world of gaming and the industry. Recently, Microsoft kind of opened up the wallet and they purchased the old Bethesda and ZeniMax Media Studio, which was pretty damn huge, if you ask me. But this is not, unheard of. Sony themselves have been acquiring studios and they've created this sort of federation of PlayStation studios, PlayStation game studios or something like that. So Microsoft, Sony, but also Google, but also Amazon with Amazon Luna. There are four big players out there and they all want games and they all want a library of exclusive to push their own box or their own service. So my question, my predictions to the next few years until PlayStation 6 comes out. Who do you think is gonna buy and what? And which huge company, if any, do you think? Well, we'll talk about how potentially companies would go bad later, but let's talk about purchasing. Which big company is gonna buy which and what? Who out there is gonna make the move? What do you guys think? Mik?
That's a very tough question, but it makes a lot of sense for us as a show and for the industry. We've seen the recent news these years. The recent news these years about 2018, and we've seen many studios shutting down, laying off, and then we discovered months afterwards that we're being acquired or completely destroyed to form a new studio. I am honestly unable to make a prediction, and this actually says a lot about how weird and unpredictable the market is. But I'm definitely seeing a lot more movement from the big two. So Sony and Microsoft will definitely do more big acquisition. And I'm betting that Microsoft will be more open than Sony about that. And I'm not just saying that because Microsoft just bought Bethesda. But, Microsoft, they're Americans. They're way more open-minded about creating a bigger family. And Bethesda maybe was just the first one. Maybe they're going to go for some other PC or indie-ish company. But precisely I can't name you one. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot. There's going to be more, let's say.
Okay, more. So you didn't really specify. What about Google? Do you think Google, Amazon?
I don't think we'll see much play there.
Okay, cool. Good point. Prosil, which one do you think?
I think Ubisoft will be bought by Google. To me, that's the call. I think Google will need a very big developer to be in the market if they want to tackle it, and they have enough money to invest in Ubisoft. Doesn't mean it's necessarily a good point, but Ubisoft is the perfect meal for companies like Google because they work on brands like Assassin's Creed and Far Cry that are not necessarily, historical brands like Super Mario or Zelda or Crash Bandicoot or whatever. That's, I think, what is gonna be the biggest one that I can see. When it comes to Bluepoint, I think that maybe either Sony or Microsoft will buy Bluepoint at some point because they have a lot of skilled people there. And then when I can see it happen, I don't think Nintendo is gonna hold on without a membership. I think Nintendo is gonna make some deal to have something released on consoles, or we're gonna see probably a membership between Microsoft and Nintendo, or
like some sort of cooperation with a major.
Yeah, I think because if they don't do the way it is settled now, Sony's gonna crash Xbox. Like, because from what I can see now, already Sony is covering all the ground they lost in the last year, is covering it before the release. that people are talking about this console, and this console is more innovative because it has the controller, because it has the hard disk. No matter how ugly it is, they have good titles and stuff. And since like Sony saved a lot of money in marketing, and now it's coming up with the bomb. So if Microsoft want to fight this back, they need to use someone strong in Japan like Nintendo.
Cool, interesting point. As it comes from as well, what regards my prediction, I haven't really thought much about it. I think that yes, there's going to be a good acquisition. You said Ubisoft being a good meal for a company like Google makes a lot of sense. But there may be other companies that may want to sort of retire from the space. And looking at Japan, surely Konami may want to sort of take its whole gaming division and say, there you go, Google, you can have it, and you just pay me a fee or whatever. And maybe that's something that can happen. The whole idea of Ubisoft as well going down, that's a possibility. And if there ever was a big move, I think that I don't expect Microsoft to do it, because I think that they have purchased pretty big studios by now. And I don't think Sony will do it, because Sony can sit and rest on quite a strong catalog of IPs. But I think it's gonna be probably either Google or Amazon indeed to go out and say, okay, let's do this. But I think it's most likely Google that is going to open the wallet one of these days and say, okay, let's buy this thing and let's put it in our catalog, and let's put this as a streaming only game. And there's a lot of companies that could be bought by a company like Google, more than one. But I think that, as you said, if they want to push their own product, they have to have their own games to make them recognizable. And so that's my prediction, as vague as it may be. We'll see how close we have gotten with it. I have one extra special last question in our very final segment. I want to ask you if any company is gonna go down spectacularly in the next years of console generation. We'll be right back. Follow the channel.